As someone who bounced off of Dark and Darker, but was always interested in the extraction genre, specifically the medieval fantasy version of that genre, I was excited to see a game that was bright and colorful, that looked like an action game. This game caught my attention. That and the tweets from the developers. This kinda edgy attitude is something we need more of in the gaming industry right now, and I'm always going to be willing to support passionate and talented developers that are willing to quit their jobs to make games like Legacy Steel and Sorcery. Legacy Steel and Sorcery is currently an early access extraction fantasy RPG created by a small team of ex-Blizzard developers. Led by Chris Kaliski, the founder and CEO of Notorious Studios. He spent 14 years of his life working on World of Warcraft. He ended up leaving after realizing that he didn't really like the state of the game anymore and wanted to create something that he wanted to play. So him and a bunch of his friends that worked at Blizzard decided to make their own studio, Notorious Studio. And their first project was going to be a PvPvE extraction game. So what is a PvPvE extraction RPG? Think Escape from Tarkov, or better yet, think of Dark and Darker. You're tasked with entering a location with only healing items, weapons, armor, and a backpack. These areas are filled with enemies. Enemy players and AI controlled enemies. If you die to any of these obstacles, you lose everything, and you have to start from scratch. That means using junk equipment to build yourself up again, unless you keep a stock of good equipment behind in your lodge. Now, as I said earlier, I have played a little Dark and Darker and even watched a friend play Escape from Tarkov, but it never set in how frustrating a game like this can be, especially early on. My first few hours, I never even escaped the Greenwood. I was just throwing gear away. But as I started to level up my priest, and even started to acquire better gear, my chances of survival went up. Along with the information you start to learn as you play. Stay away from rogues. As of the making of this video, there are only 4 roles that are playable in Legacy Sword and Sorcery: Priest, Hunters, Warriors, and Rogues. While all of them are very powerful in their own ways, some are more powerful than others in different modes. There are 2 modes you can play in: teams and solos, and some, like the Rogues and Warriors, are dominant forces in solo right now, because one sneaking up behind you and kills you very fast, stunning you and even teleporting behind you to do even more damage. So if you want to play Nightcrawler, you don't have to wait till he's introduced in Marvel Rivals, just play Rogue here. The Warrior tends to just run through damage, not caring that he's being burned by the power of God's light. Nah, he just grabs his giant hammer and runs at you and kills you as quickly as he possibly can, using dodge attacks, rushing attacks, and gigantic leaps. Hunters are for those people that think they're Call of Duty pros. If you think you can hit a shot while a guy's running at you with a mace and teleporting, this is the character you want to play. Alright, there's even more to it than that. You can set up traps, you got bombs, you even have elf powers, using nature to create tornadoes to fight for you. Then you have the class that I played for maybe 30 hours, the Priest. The Priest is all about utility, mid-range attacks, stunning, and healing you and your allies. But all these classes can significantly change based on the weapons and armor each of them are using at that time. Each armor has its own characteristics, specifically giving you perks that change how some of the skills you use even work. The weapons you're using have completely different playstyles depending on who you're using. Hell, even the skills you're using can be changed as you level up to more powerful or more utilitarian skills depending on how you like to use them. some being better for PvP and some being better for PvE. Even learning passive traits, like doing more damage with headshots. Being able to fly. As a priest, I had homing attacks that I could lock onto Panzer Dragoon style to attack enemies. Then with her heavy scepter, I had a giant laser beam of death, playing the game like I was Zarya without the bubbles. I was even able to cosplay as Cassandra, using a sword and shield playstyle. Finally being able to deal with people up close and personal, using the powers of God at close range. You can even change how you play Ranger. You can play Ranger like a sniper with a longbow. You can act like you're playing Halo, specifically using a DMR at mid-range with a medium bow. Or, from what I've experienced, using the light bow, treating combat like you have an SMG. Then we have Warriors. They are the Black Air Force energy of the game. They are just going to try and stun lock you and melt your health bar. They are tanky and they are there to take your shit and send you to hell. They are pure, unadulterated violence in pixelated form. The only difference is, does he do it with a shield and hammer, or does he do it with a giant ball of death? Then we got the stealth using rogues. They just hide in the shadows while you do all the busy work before they stab you in the back. And if you are able to run away, they'll sit there and throw fucking throwing knives that are covered in poison into your ass while you run. And if they don't succeed, they'll teleport on top of you and stab you in the back. And if you do start to win, they go back into the shadows and run away. This is the class that repeatedly made me rage quit this game. Every time I had a full set of green gear, a rogue comes out of nowhere and just cuts me down. The good thing is, because of how good the artwork is in this game, you can see the problems coming your way from large distances. You can see that that's a big muscular man and maybe you make a left and don't go right after him. Not only that, but you can also see how well equipped they are. And if you're knowledgeable about the game, you'll even be able to tell what perks they probably are running, because each set of armor is unique. Not just in its rarity, but in what perks it gives. So this can be utilized to determine their playstyle just from looking at their armor sets. That's right, you can know what their playstyle probably is before ever engaging them, and probably be able to gauge how powerful they're going to be as well. See, rarity is very important in this game. Rarity not only affects weapons and armor, but it affects the chest that you're looting. And even the enemies. Yes, even the enemies have rarity. Hell, even the extractions have rarity properties attached to them and how you access them. That's because you can only access them through rare items like keys and levers. That's right, every single thing you pick up, every single enemy you fight, has a rarity value attached to them. That includes even trees and rocks that you run into. They have common, green, and blue as rarities. This can somewhat be annoying because everything is randomly generated, so if you need certain types of wood, it might not be in the same location every time. Same with iron ore and copper. It's all randomly generated. So when you need something like a pair of scissors or a wood saw to progress in upgrading your lodge, like making a better bed or getting a better carpentry table, you won't be able to find it. I was playing this game for like 35 hours, and I rarely, if ever, found wood saws. It was becoming a very, very significant problem. Now, while elite enemies and super bosses are going to be in the same areas, all the loot they drop will be randomized. So you'll be getting weapons and armor for classes you don't play. Now, that's not as big of a deal as you would assume it would be, because once you extract, you can go to the city, sell everything, or even dismantle it, taking its good parts, using them to create better weapons that you would use. The vendors are probably some of the most important things in the game. But guess what? Even they need to be leveled up. You have to earn reputation with them to get better gear and have them craft better equipment for you. I'm 30 hours in and I still can't get blue equipment because of this. If you like a specific build, you can repeatedly go to vendors and have them build those specific items for you and then upgrade them yourself. Now, this comes at a very high cost, but if you like a certain PvP or PvE build, you can repeat that build without there being massive problems. But that's not all the vendors do. You can buy health potions, bandages, and even food that can buff you on the next adventure. But even that has rarities involved. There are common bandages, green and blue bandages, and they all increase in effectiveness as you go up the tier lists. That goes for health potions, food items. Rarity is a very important factor in every single aspect of this game. That's one of the reasons why there's a mechanic in this game where you have a secret stash pouch on you. You can't lose these items, but they're mostly for collecting certain items. So you can go in with garbage equipment, mine ore, and not have to worry about losing everything because a rogue jumped you because you're making too much noise. There's always a way to keep making progress, and that doesn't become clear until 3 or 4 hours in when you start to see how the game works. Now, should you play Legacy? That's a tough question to answer. There are problems with balancing. From how powerful some of these characters are in solo, like the warriors and rogues, to how frequently some items drop. I swear I can't find some of these items no matter what I do. I have only been playing solo mode because I couldn't get too many people to play with me. So I've not experienced the team mode. So some of the balancing issues with warrior and rogue might not even be a problem for team fights, but in solos it's cancer. But playing with friends might not have been a problem if there was a lot more people playing the game. Yeah, there's not that many people playing this game. That's probably because it's an early access game that you have to pay $25 to play, and honestly, it's just a really fucking good demo in its current state. Because what we're playing now and what you're seeing is only the first map of 3. We don't even have the full cast yet. Specifically the guys that use sorcery in our sword and sorcery game. Honestly, if they do everything that they're going to do in this roadmap, this game has the potential to be the dark and dark killer. But no one's going to know that if they're not playing it. There's not even content creators making content about this game. Just me and a couple of randos. And that's another problem. One of the biggest problems I have with this game. There is no one putting out information on this game. This is one of the first times I've ever played a game where I went to Google search something for it and just got no answers. I only encountered people on Reddit asking questions. Look, all I want is my fucking wood saw. Where is it? Where is my wood saw? He keeps saying they're in this building. It's not there. I've been there 100 times. This is an early access live service game without a lot of people playing it as of now. But that could change when it's fully released. In a year or two, this game could be a masterpiece, one of the best in the genre, but it could also die before it gets that far, especially if all the players leave it. So if you're thinking about buying this, you have one of 2 options. You purchase it now so you can experience the game before it dies, or you wait for its full release and play what could possibly be the best medieval fantasy extraction game on the market. But that's just me trying to predict the future. It's all theoretical. Keyword, theoretical. Anything could happen. Everything on that roadmap could be a lie. They might not make it far enough to create the first character on that roadmap or the next map before the game tanks and they shut it down forever. Do I think they're going to do that? No, but there's no telling what's in the future for a game that's not doing this well. I mean, look at games like Forever Winter, and that had a lot more hype behind it. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel. I would appreciate it.